So I got a book this week called The Moon and My Friend, and it's like a collection of inspiring poetry that's just supposed to like encourage you and remind you about the simple things in life that are important. So I read it on a sunny day in the garden, and I actually finished the book in a couple of hours. I just found it really uplifting, and it had little pictures in it that were cute as well. And I just sat and listened to the bees buzzing behind me, and yeah, it was nice to just have some sunlight on my face for a change, because it's just been really bad weather in Northern Ireland. And yeah, it's just, I love like getting a chance to read uninterrupted whenever my kids are in school. And it's nice to find a book that you can just get completely engrossed in. I kind of find poetry easier to read at the moment. I think like since having kids, my concentration hasn't been as great with like fiction, and because I spend so much time editing my own books, it's like I've already reached capacity for that by the time they're finished. So it's nice to have something that you can just dip into that's light, and you don't lose track of the story. It's just like little pieces of inspiration. And there's something about reading paperback as well and getting away from your phone. I feel like it just does your mental health a lot of good. Well, it definitely does mine good anyway. Later that day, I went to a cafe to read, and I got a window seat. And I just love finding a little quiet corner in a cafe where you can just read or write, and it's like being in your own little world. And sometimes I just need to get out of the house and look at something different for a change. So I just got home from writing in a cafe, and I'm going to have a little painting session before my kids finish school for the weekend. And I stopped at the shop and got myself a cinnamon bun, and I put it on the plate, my chicken plate that my mum got me that says "Make this day wonderful," and it just cheers me up using it. I've got coffee. The last thing I need is more coffee, but I'm gonna have it anyway. And I'm going to paint this picture I showed you the other day. And I've got my painting stuff, and I always use like kids' old plates for palettes because I just find it easier to mix all the colours on it. Hi, so I just thought that you could sit with me while I do some painting. I'm trying to get the lighting right. It's hard because if I close the blind it's too dark. If it's open it's like blinding. But this is where I always sit when I'm doing like writing and painting. And I feel like the kitchen table is the centre of our house. Like it was the same in my house growing up. And it's just like where we eat together, we do homeworks, like where we do art, where we do like crafts together, and play games and stuff. So it's just like my favourite part of the house. And I guess it's kind of like an office because I don't have one, so it's just the easiest spot to sit whenever you're working on something. I'll show you just the beginning of my painting. So this is it so far. It doesn't look how it's going to look at the end at all, but just so you know what I'm doing. And yeah, I was just wondering, do you have like a favourite place to do artwork, or if you paint or write or anything like that, like where do you tend to do it? Like quite often I find with writing, like it's easier to go out just to get a change of scenery, plus I end up looking at the mess in my house whenever I'm writing, and then I just get distracted by the other things I could be doing. And I just wanted to ask, like anyone who's subscribed so far, do you have a preference about like how regular videos are? I wanted to do like a weekly vlog and make it longer, but I don't know if I might upload a separate video for weekends, because usually I spend time with my boyfriend at the weekend and we do like family activities, and it's sort of a different pace. But you can let me know what your preference is, or if you have one, you know. And I don't know, I enjoy it because it's like, it sort of motivates me to be creative and keep working on different projects whenever I know I'm going to make a video. I've just been struggling a lot this week with like feelings of self-doubt and I don't know if that's something that all writers and artists struggle with, but I just have, like, I don't have a huge amount of confidence ever in what I'm doing anyway. I think I'm just that kind of person, but like, I really just, like, I kind of wish I could be one of those people that just believes in everything they're doing and thinks it's all, like, amazing all the time, but it's not that easy. And I don't know, I think sometimes being critical is what makes your work better too, because, like, you're more likely to go back and edit it and to try to make it better each time. So I don't think it's necessarily always a bad thing, but it can be hard personally whenever you're just, like, being really hard on yourself and sort of criticizing everything you do in your head. I think that's one reason why I like to get out of the house as well and have a change of scenery, because it just helps to kind of reset your brain. And just being surrounded by other people, even if you're not talking to them and you're working on separate things, I feel like you get a certain amount of energy from that. Like I don't know what any of the other people on their laptops in cafes are working on, but it just feels like there's a lot of creative energy in the place. I had a kind of ridiculous moment this morning because I tried to go to a different coffee shop to do some writing, and I have been passing this deli like every week. It opened a couple of months ago, but I haven't gone in yet, and it's only got 4 tables in it, and it's really hard to get one of them. And I looked from outside and I was surprised because, well, it was still early because I had just dropped my kids at school, but I saw that there was a free table, so I decided to go in and see what it was like. And I walked in the door and there was, like, a lady talking to a man that she knew, and she was sitting at, like, the window seat. And as soon as he saw me going towards the counter to get coffee, he literally ran and jumped into the last chair, and it was just like a ridiculous moment. And then I had the awkward moment of having to be like, okay, no, I'm not staying, and, like, turn and walk out of the shop. So yeah, I'll have to try and go back another day, probably after, like, all of the build up in my head and like thinking that it's something special. I'll finally make it for a coffee and I'll just be like, this is the same as the coffee I make at home. But I like to try new places, and I think it inspires you, changing your environment too, and not getting too I don't know, you can kind of get stuck in a rut. And I've noticed too that I tend to go to Cafe Nero all the time because it's near my house and I like it, and it's got a nice kind of peaceful atmosphere for doing art. But I'm starting to recognise the playlist. I think whenever, like, you get to the point where you're like, okay, Maroon 5 is coming on next, it's time for a change. And I'm hoping that my new book will be available soon on Amazon. I've just done paperback at the moment, but you can let me know if anyone would like an ebook of it. I just think an art book that's the size that it is works best as a paperback, but then I know some people don't really read paperbacks anymore. So yeah, you can tell me what you think. And Friday is always a strange day because my daughter gets out of school early, so I don't feel like I have that much time. And I've also got into a different pace because I kind of get used to having time to do art in peace throughout the week, and then whenever the weekend comes, it's just like craziness. And I hope that you have a peaceful day with lots of creativity and happy moments in it. And yeah, I think I'll just end the video here, and you can watch the bees on my fuchsia outside. Bye.